And we're live. I'm jumping right into the disclaimers. Content provided at the event is for general information only and not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. Any performance reference is historical and no guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested into directly. Any economic forecast set forth through the event may not develop as predicted, and there can be no guarantee that any strategy will be successful. These thoughts and opinions are those of Gimbal Financial and do not represent the views of LPL Financial. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member of FINRA, SIPC. Investment advice offered through Gimbal Financial, registered investment advisor, and separate entity from LPL Financial. And happy My Keyword Day.
You reading that never gets old to me.
I'm just trying to be as concise, as quick as possible. One of these days I might memorize it. Who knows?
Oh my gosh, this is so cool.
Cheers from Evansville, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers
happy My
from
Kinghorn Day.
Indie Coffee Roasters.
Nice.
Isn't that good?
Did you make that yourself?
No, these fine people at this sign did.
Oh, lovely, lovely.
Nice.
So Doug's at Indie Coffee Roasters. Deb's at home. Keith, I think, is coming live to us from Evansville.
From the Honeymoon Coffee Shop, not Indie Coffee Roasters.
Oh.
The Honeymoon. Life's a honeymoon.
Nice. Well,
cheers.
Cheers. We've all mentioned Mike Kinghorn Day over the last couple weeks, and Mike used to work with us at Gimbal Financial. He's a dear friend, and he came up with the idea of we've got Memorial Day, and then a month later we've got 4th of July, and then there's like a 2-month span between 4th of July and Labor Day.
Amanda, you're forgetting things.
What?
You forgot June, the most important day in June. It's not summer kicks off. It is Father's Day.
Oh. Yeah, unfortunately, we don't get that day off. Should be. So we take a day off in August to spend time with our families and have a long weekend. And we pay homage to Mike Kinghorn for giving us that idea. I need to text him wishing him happy MK Day.
Can I just say a few things about Mike Kinghorn Day? I mean, this whole idea is just amazing that Keith and Mike put together. I can remember it. Mike was sitting around the conference table describing the calendar, just like Amanda did. And he said, there's nothing to look forward to in August. And Keith declared it a holiday, Mike Kinghorn Day. And I think this year is super appropriate because the Indy 500 is falling on Mike Kinghorn Day weekend. I mean, how cool is that?
That's very
Mike
cool.
Loves the race. And Mike's going to I talked to Mike, text back and forth, and he said that he is going to tune into the replay on this one because active Mike Kinghorn is out whipping somebody in a game of pickleball right now as we speak.
When Mike tossed the idea out to me, what occurred to me is we all are raised with expectations of what we're supposed to do and what we're not supposed to do. We're not supposed to take a day off in August, right? That's what we've been trained. And it occurred to me, well, why not? And I would encourage everyone that's watching us today to just take a day off sometime for no specific reason and go do something you enjoy doing. Just take the day off and go do it.
And Mike, he is what a guy built for adventure. I mean, he's one of 10 kids, and he pursues his family in a really neat way. Mike is an adventurous guy. He sailed in the race to Mackinac. He raced from Chicago to the bridge in a sailboat with a lot of people. Mike around the office, a couple nicknames. Is
that Doug's internet or is that mine?
Kids, that's how they know him. And then
that's his.
Okay, Doug, we're losing you.
Oh, I'm gonna switch. Okay, I'm switching. So, you guys pick it up. I'll be right back.
Mike Kinghorn. When I couldn't even buy a lunch, sometimes Mike Kinghorn was my haberdasher and made sure I was finely dressed. So that's another Mike Kinghorn story back in the old days at Harry Levinson's. So, well, I'm going to kick us off into the markets, because we're not going to have a full show today because of Mike Kinghorn Day, and we don't want everybody to work too long. So the markets have really seen some rallies this week. We've seen the NASDAQ hit new highs. The Dow Jones is working higher, and the S&P 500 has worked higher. I think the bulk of the NASDAQ this week, and I'll wait for Doug to jump back in for his opinion, but the bulk of the NASDAQ was rallying as a result of the big name FANG stocks: Facebook, Amgen, Apple, Netflix, and Google. Those stocks have been rallying really strong. And so I'm not sure it's been a broad rally with a lot of companies joining in, but if you own those stocks, it's been a pretty good week. I think Amazon, for example, came close to hitting a new high this week, and that's up over $3,300 a share, which is mind-boggling. And I can't remember if we mentioned it last week, but major stocks like Tesla and Apple announced major stock splits in the last 2 weeks, and so that kind of stirs some curiosity for people. But yeah, the stock market.
When was the last time you saw a stock split? It's been forever.
Well, stock splits went out of vogue probably a good decade. The only ones I've seen, Doug, and this is going to get complicated, are called reverse splits. And you don't ever want to see a reverse split. That's when a company is doing so horribly that they take a $2 stock and convert it to a $100 stock by taking 50 of your shares and converting them to one. And so that's the most splits I've seen, other than these most recent ones announced by Apple.
Is that Keith or me?
It might be Keith now.
He looks good.
Hey, this is why we should always stay at the office. But no, I'll jump in. Yeah, as a reverse stock split, that's normally not good. But I want to say this about some of the leading stocks. You know, it's been real interesting to see some of the leaders like Tesla, for example. One of you had talked to me about Tesla, and Tesla price just has moved so fast that it's really hard to get in. And so what we try and do is we try and find good times to buy investments for you, whether that's individual stocks or whether that's a ETF or an index. We're looking for a good time where there's lower risk and the profitability margin is in your favor. And so when we see some of these stocks like Tesla really run up, they're really hard to buy. And so we haven't been taking advantage of stuff like that. But this past week in the stock market has been really good. I mean, we've seen a lot of leaders continue to spread their wings, and corporate profitability has been strong. Target had a great day in the market this week, and they had great earnings announced, and it was a surprise to everyone. But they're doing things differently, and that's what ends up leading the market. That's how America can keep going, is the innovation. And so Target, they started to bring your groceries to your car. They gave you that service where you didn't have to come in their store. You didn't have to wake up at 6:45 a.m. to try and beat everyone into the Kroger. Target would deliver your groceries right to your trunk, and so that was a huge advantage for them, and brought more and more people into their stores. And so as we're looking for stocks, we like to look at the leaders, but we're also looking for the innovators, and we believe those innovators are the difference makers. Hey, welcome back. Keith Tyner is our guest today.
My hometown struggles with internet connections, evidently.
Well, so does mine. But yeah, Keith, I just continued about the market a little bit, but by and large, the markets have been very good. We wouldn't be surprised to see the market start to level off in the next couple of months, just as we are trying to figure out what's going to go on with third quarter earnings, what's going to happen with elections, and then just what's happening in global markets as well. And so If you want to talk deeper about your individual portfolio or about things we're looking at, we'd love to chat about those things with you too.
I think, Doug, my personal expectation, which the market could care less about, is more volatility in the markets in the next 90 days, that we'll start seeing bigger swings from day to day. We've talked about it on past shows that the VIX is the indicator that tells you about the volatility. And ironically, it keeps getting less and less volatile. So my expectation so far as we've approached the presidential election has not been correct. But I think that's something that we can make sure our clients and investors know that that's something we're watching and are paying close attention to.
And again, with the VIX on Monday, it hit a low, and really it's done it's calmed down quite a bit. Keith and I, we don't really start biting our nails until we see it up around 30. And so that's something that we've been paying attention to. But hey, can I jump back to Mike Kinghorn for a second?
By all means.
Yeah.
I mean, it is his day. I'd like, Keith, he's encouraging you to take a day off. And I think that is just a really good piece of advice. And if you're retired, one of the things that Mike did exceptionally well is he read a book called Younger Next Year. And if you need a copy of that, we're happy to get you a copy. That the concept in Younger Next Year is this concept of a kedge, where you throw an object away from a ship and you have a line to it like an anchor, or not like an anchor. It's like an anchor you throw out, and the anchor actually pulls the ship to you. And so Mike would pick a goal that's bigger than himself. He might even buy a piece of equipment. I know he bought a bike that was probably a little more advanced than where he was currently at in his riding style. And he started to ride, and he started to get in better shape. And so if you're retired and you're thinking, well, I have a day off every day, I'd like to encourage you to just think big about what your younger next year could look like in 2021. And maybe you have to buy a piece of equipment, or you have to go outside your comfort zone to do something that's bigger than where things are currently. And so Mike, you could probably even reach out to him. He'd be happy to talk to you about it. But that's just another picture of cool breeze and the effect that he left on us when he was working with us.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I promised a savings idea last week, and I'm going to go over it briefly, and then I can probably throw it in our anchor. So any of you that read the anchor, you can get more details on it. If you are on with us today and you don't get the anchor, just send us an email and we'll add you to our mailing list, and you can get regular updates on what we're thinking, not only in the economy and the markets, but other planning ideas that we think are very helpful for you. But I called an attorney last week in preparation for the show and asked him, what's the most common mistake people make with their estate planning? And the answer was they don't organize it. And he said, from the cost of a legal assistant all the way up to the high-end attorneys, you're probably going to pay $150 to $400 an hour if you don't have things organized for somebody to come in and find documents that you don't have in place. And I spent 3 hours looking for my dad's discharge papers from the U.S. Army when I was cleaning up his estate. And so that process, had I not known what to do, would have cost on those wages somewhere between $450 and $1,200. And so the solution that we can help you with is we have file labels that we can get to you with the key files that we think you should have organized, and get you copies of those. Or if you'd like to come in and talk about it, we're happy to meet with you and go over those with you. And the one that's a problem that I was doing some research on it, one of those files is passwords. And the problem with that file is I don't think most people would keep it up to date. And so we can talk, and I'll put it in the anchor, some solutions on how to keep the passwords up to date, because if somebody passes away and you need into an account or a telephone or something, a lot of times they're not going to even share those passwords and let you log on to accounts, even for spouses. So I think that's a good cost savings idea. And like I said, look to the anchor for more details. That's all I got on that, Doug.
Well, you know, in line with keeping things in order, October is rolling around, and I know for some of you who are working right now, that's when benefits filing takes place. And so maybe you have a 401k and you're not sure what the match is. Give me or Keith a call, and we can walk through that with you. Or maybe you're trying to decide if you should do a high deductible healthcare plan, or you don't even know what that is, or you want to learn more about a health savings account. I was so impressed. I was hanging out with my freshman at Carmel last night, and he says, "Hey, Dad, what kind of healthcare plan do we have?" I said, "Why do you ask?" And in health class, his teacher decided, he said, "Hey, this isn't on the test. This is just for your information. I want you to know a little bit more about your parents and the decisions they're making." And they talked about a high deductible healthcare plan and the difference between a traditional plan. And so with October rolling around, if you're thinking through your benefits, we'd love to talk with you about that. And that would include disability insurance, life insurance, all these things that your employer might offer you as a benefit. And we want to help you understand them, because it can get real confusing real fast. And so, yeah, stay organized, and then let's talk about this stuff.
I've got one thing too that's coming even before October. In September, we're going to have Gimbal Financial's Welcome Week, the week of September 14th through the 18th. We want to make it a safe environment for people, but we would like to offer you a lunch meal. I think we're going to do some kind of barbecue, and we'll be sending out an email with all this, but for all you watching, you get a little sneak peek and a little heads up on this. We're going to send out a way to schedule a time for you to come in, and from 10 to 2 every day, if you RSVP, it's going to be a great time. You guys can see our place, but we've got the date nailed down, what we're doing. We just would love for you guys to show up. So looking forward to that. Again, week of September 14th through the 18th.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be a great time.
What do you think? Should we kick off our Mike Kinghorn Day ourselves and hit the road today?
That sounds great.
Yes, sounds good.
Yeah, happy Mike Kinghorn Day, everybody.
Absolutely.
Likewise.
See you soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.